Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle for the match preview. How are we, Steve? Leicester travels Carrow Road this weekend to take on Norwich City. Battle of the Cities. Some call it the El Crapico, the El Sacico, whatever you want to call it. Two poor sides going at it. What do you reckon, Steve?
Well, first of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to the only Leicester channel that's live tonight. We were going to go live at 7:30, but something went wrong, so we've gone 8:30 instead. You know,
yeah, we are here. We've not left you standing, so you don't have to worry. We are.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'll be honest with you, mate. I'm not looking forward to the trip down on Saturday. It's going to be. To be fair, it's not too far for me. It's about just under 2 hours. I don't know what it is for you guys. Is it about 3 for you guys?
Well, I'm going the train, so yeah, probably take about 3 hours. You know what it's like. Leicester to Peterborough and then Peterborough to Norwich. Lovely. Hi all. Last time I went to Carrow Road, Kevin Keegan were playing for Southampton. Must have been 1980 or thereabouts. Well, I wasn't even thought of at that point. And Steve?
I was just a twinkle in my dad's eye at that point. Like 10 years later, I came out.
Hello, Emily. How are we? Evening all. Saturday, is it? If we don't come back from Carrow Road with 3 points, I'm over to Marty out. Big pressure on Marty, Steve, in this one.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to have a 38-year-old goalkeeper in goal for the Saturday as well, so that's fun. Begovic, it looks like he's going to be starting because Jakob is injured, so, you know, that filled me with so much more confidence.
Well, he calls himself an experienced goalkeeper, but couldn't deal with that ball into the box, could he, when it was in the air? But
great.
Phil Perkins, how are we, mate? Paul, hello. At least Jack shows up on time. I'm not Leicester Fan TV. Well, none said the less that, the better. The toxic bowl. We'll lose or draw, just how we are. Well, we are the draw specialist. We've had six draws this season already. Things just don't seem to be getting any brighter. There's no pot at the end of the rainbow with Leicester City at the minute as things go on. Evening, Jack and Steve. I'm a Marty out. Well, I think it's now or never for Leicester. I really do. The last side we lost against who were near this relegation zone or even in it were Blackburn, and that went well for us. Norwich haven't won a game at home all season, haven't won away from home, haven't actually won a game in 10 games, I believe, which was dating back to 30th of August. Blackburn away, they won 2-0 away at Ewood Park, and I believe that was the last time Josh Sargent scored.
Yeah, he's not scored in a while, has he? He's not looked great either. So it only makes sense that Dr. Leicester turn up and give him the opportunity to score some more goals.
We always seem to be like that, though, don't we, Steve? Where teams haven't either won or players haven't scored, and we could have probably a bit of both at the weekend.
Well, Luke Ayling hasn't scored since 2023, so the ever-obliging Leicester City give him the opportunity to stick in the back of the net.
A win papers over the cracks. His time is coming to an abrupt end. Yeah. Evening, Steve. How are we, mate? Watching Leicester the other night, it did look like a relegation side.
Well, there is rumours that he, if he doesn't win, he will get sacked. They're all apparently looking at other alternatives already at the club. So, look, if it happens, it happens. I think for me, the Marty situation is quite clear that I think he's the right person at the wrong time. I think he'd come in the summer next summer with the players leaving and bringing his own players in. I think he'd do better. But as I said on the prediction show, I just don't think he's a strong enough character to lead that dressing room. And we need somebody to come in and stamp their authority over it. there's no leadership in that dressing room at all. So,
No.
it's a shambles. It really is. And then you get Abdul putting all this shit on Instagram that is almost as bad as Madison, what he did a few years ago, with stop posting negativity, blah, blah, blah. Like, Abdul, you're not helping, mate. Like, we're all pissed off and you're saying, oh, we played really well. Did you watch the same game that we watched? Because it was fucking atrocious. It really was.
Talk's cheap without the actions. And I say this about Marty a lot. He says a lot. He doesn't really do it, what he says. And I think this is what pisses me off even more, that he does change a lot of players. He's not got a consistent 11, which I think by now, Steve, he should. And people say it's a rebuild at Leicester, it's a rebuild season, but man's turning into a firefighter at this point because it's trying to save us from wherever we're going next. So before we get on to Norwich, obviously it is two managers under huge pressure in this game. What was your? I tell you what, we'll look back at the Middlesbrough game. 1-10. I'd say we got lucky with the penalty. You take your luck in this game, but you've got to score it. We did. Non-existent again up front, Steve. Middlesbrough, they probably deserve more out of the game. We got what we deserved in the end. But another game where they seem to score first and they seem to just sit on it and defend and then don't go for a second. But 2 shots on target in a game, Steve, is quite something.
Well, especially when you're already under pressure. He saw the reaction of the fans at the weekend where they were booing and shouting that they weren't fit to wear the shirt. And then he thinks, "Fuck it, I'm gonna change it up." Because look, we all I put out that we were changing formation because I was told that we were changing formation to a 3-5-2. I got some of the side wrong. I hold my hands up. I got told by 2 separate people and a third that it was a certain lineup. It's fine. Everyone makes mistakes, whatever. But when I thought, we're playing 3-5-2, that made sense to me. Changing the formation, changing the system, it meant we would be more stable in defence and we'd be better going forward. But actually, it was just the same old as the week before, but just different players. And I would say worse players than we had at the weekend. Oliver Skip came in who can tackle, but he can't pass a ball. Are you on the left wing when you're dropping Mavididi and Monga for him? Doesn't make any sense to me. Carranza looks like a fraud at this point. I know he's only just come in, but realistically, we're in November now. He's not had a sniff he's had 2 opportunities to score, the overhead kick and the one against Millwall. Was it Millwall where he hit it straight at the goalkeeper? Just not good enough. And so the manager thinks, fuck it, I'm going to carry on playing the same system. And that just isn't, it's just not good enough. And then the performance at the weekend, where's the exciting, fast-paced football that he promised us when he came in? We scored a goal, then we sat back the entirety of the second half, and we didn't look like we were going to score. When they went down to 10 man, we didn't look like we were going to score. We sat back even more. We're like, what are you doing? Like, you've got a man advantage. Make use of it. So, yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. And I think as a person, you could probably be like, yeah, he's a nice enough guy, whatever. But as a manager that is stubborn, he's not going to change things. I can't get on board with it because I'm sick to the back teeth of most of this squad, and he's just enabling them to be even more shit. So, yeah, it's just frustrating. It really is.
Well, we looked at the lineup and we're thinking 3-5-2.
Yeah.
But then in the game, it reverted back to a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
Where Luke Thomas would go back to left back. He weren't a left wing back. He'd go back to left back. He'd play Okoli as a right back, even though he's a centre half. Ben Nelson and Vestergaard would be 2 centre halves, which I think Ben Nelson had a good game, by the way. I think that's the only positive. I'd take out the Middlesbrough game. He's the man who has to start every week now, in my opinion. He's proved it. The fans have been berating him about Ben Nelson, Marty, for weeks, and he hasn't listened, and he has now. Then Oliver Skip and Winks went as your CDMs. Jordan James in that number 10 role. I I just think I've run out of patience with that, to be fair, because he's a number 8. He's not a number 10. He can play as a number 6, but he's a better as an 8. Jordan Ayew is a left winger. At Crystal Palace, he were a left winger. But Carranza's your only striker. Fatawu wasn't his greatest game again. And
I would say it's his worst game in a Leicester shirt for Abdul against.
He's been hot and cold this season, and in performances, he's not. He expects to put himself high standards. I get it. Everything goes through him, and if it doesn't go through him, it goes through nobody else on the pitch, and that's where we really struggle. But I get his frustration with his Instagram posts and that, and to say we played well against Middlesbrough.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
We were piss poor again. We didn't look a threat to them. They had chances. They probably should have scored more than one.
So, Jack, just a question. So, whenever you see Jordan Ayew get hold of the ball, what are you expecting him to do with it? Because every time he does two things. He either falls over. Yeah. Right. I guess he does 3 things technically. Because there are some times where he can take around 3 or 4 players and you think, fucking hell, where has this Jordan Ayew been? There's the get hold of the ball and then fall over and try and draw a free kick. And at times on Wednesday or Tuesday, he didn't get the foul and they just played on. Or he holds on to it way too long and then just gets them back into shape. I don't know what he's actually bringing to this team at all. And it frustrates me more than anybody else. I will take Oliver Skip on the wing over Jordan Ayew because he pisses me off. Do you think that in the year, Lord's year 2025, we should be playing Jordan Ayew as a starter?
No.
Good.
I think you physically, from my understanding, that you need young progressing players in the Championship. It proved it last season with Leeds, Burnley, Sunderland did it. That's what Leicester's got to be looking at. But Leicester are relying on the same individuals, these so-called experienced players who keep dropping points left, right and centre to go and get them out of this mess. And it's digging a further hole in the team because we can't do anything because we haven't physically backed ourselves, have we, again, in the transfer window. And we speak about January that we have to sell a lot more players because we've still got a large squad and we need to sell players before buying players again. It's just an ongoing vicious cycle with Leicester where things won't improve unless you fix them. And because we're not fixing them, we're just doing whatever we're doing. It's not worked. We've declined massively. And the thing is with this squad, it was always only going to take you so far in this league. You look at the wins that we have had this season: Sheffield Wednesday, Swansea, Birmingham, Charlton away. We've not looked convincing at all. We've been bit parts in games. We've not had a full 90 minutes. We can't say we've really took the game to teams because we haven't. We think 1-0 is acceptable and we just sit on it. And it proves again that we get our bloody bellies tickled every time that happens. That you got, instead of going to the corner against Middlesbrough, you got on bloody tapping it round the back again. It's like, well, you're all right, mate. They're down to 10 men. See the game out, get through it. But nah, not Leicester, not us. We let Middlesbrough get the ball into the box again and don't deal with it.
Yeah, it's the Leicester City way, isn't it? It's a pain in the arse, and it makes I know that the attendance was reported to be 28,000.
Not tonight, they've declined. I can see why, though. They have declined. They don't want to be depressed even more. And I think me and Steve are putting ourselves through depression at this point, talking about us.
Yeah. So the attendance on Tuesday was 28,000 because of the season ticket holders and whatever. But I would say there was probably about 22,000 there total, if that. And if the fans are starting to turn and not go to games anymore, and the away tickets don't sell out like they did last year or the year before, they're going to members now most of the time. That, for me, shows a significant issue for the club. They realise they're losing the match-going fans. And if you lose them, they won't come back. And that is a real concern, that's for sure.
Well, the other goalkeeper hasn't been seen. Viates. He is registered.
Is he registered? I don't know if he's registered or not.
He is registered.
But he is eligible
to play. I
But he's
don't know
not
where
under the
he's gone.
AFL. So
Well, I don't know. It's saying that it's illegible on here. So I don't seem to understand the logic of what it is. Begovic came on for his Foxes debut, his first competitive appearance since April 2024. He hasn't played for 18 months
yep.
for 38-year-old goalkeeper. This was an interesting stat. So, in the last 674 days, under Enzo Maresca, Steve Cooper, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Marty Cifuentes, from the 1st of the 1st, 2024, to now, the 6th of the 11th, 2025, we've played 73 league games in the EFL and Premier League, winning 21 and losing 37 with 15 draws, 13 home wins from 37 games and 8 wins. 78 points from 219 available, 7 wins home and away in 2025 for Leicester City.
Yeah, not good enough.
That's a decline. It
is if you take away the Enzo season, the second half of the Enzo season, those actual stats are way worse. The Enzo season is pushing us up a little bit because we won a few games towards the end of the season and whatever. But like right now, I off the top of my head, we've won 4 away games total in the last 2 years. That's poor. That's really bad. Home games isn't much better. So yeah, it's just really poor. It's a shocking state of events that Leicester have got themselves into the situation.
Steve says a lot of Norwich's new signings are not up to it. You will have an away win. We expected to lose against Sheffield Wednesday last night. I'm a Norwich fan. Home, it's okay to be here. Hope it's okay to be here. Steve?
Oh, yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
We obviously like the opposition view, mate. If you want to come on and give us a down brief on Norwich, feel free, mate.
Two Steves will be a bit confusing, but sure, we'll make it work.
Yeah, we will. Recovering from surgery is Thomas. Not seen it, being away. How long is Ramsey out for? I think he said, was it weeks?
Yeah, I think he'll be back towards the second week after the international break. 4 or 5 weeks, he said total. So
Jakob's injured as well. He was, he did all right to save that double save with a groin injury. We probably should have brought him off sooner, Steve, to be fair, and not aggravated it a lot more.
Yeah, but that's the Leicester way. You leave him on and he gets worse and worse. And we go, oh, shit, we fucked it.
Let's get on to the game. Like I say, both managers under pressure. Liam Manning, I'd probably say a little more so than Cifuentes. What is your initial thoughts on Norwich? Because they haven't won in 10. They are, let me get their stats up. So they sit 22nd in the table, 14 games played, 9 defeats, 3 draws, 2 wins. They're a club who's in real crisis, Steve, with the manager and the director of football as well? Napa, is it? So they're a club in crisis. What do you take on Norwich City so far this season?
I would say they've been really poor. I think if you take out Sheffield United out of the equation, everyone would say that is really poor for them, especially because the amount of money they spent in the summer. They spent a decent amount on Topic and Diallo. £30 million on that striker from Bromby. So a lot of money, and they've still got Josh Sargent as well. So yeah, I mean, look, they are underperforming significantly. And look, Manning, I don't necessarily know if it's a Manning issue or if it's a director of football issue or if it's a squad issue. But they need to pick up some results. But I think this is El Sacco at the weekend. I think both of us could be in a situation where, well, to be honest, we could both go into this game. Either of us could lose, and we still sack the manager for both of us. So, it's a shame because Norwich aren't a bad side. they've got some decent players, and they should be doing better than they are. But I think with Manning, it's a strange one in the sense of he did really well at Bristol City. He's not doing great at Norwich. I'm wondering if he was the right manager at the wrong time for Norwich. That's, whereas because I'll be honest, and I got shot down for this, but if we were to sack Martin and we Norwich sacked Manning, I would actually happily take Manning, because I think he'd be a better scenario for Leicester. Because he's a decent manager, because he did well at Bristol City on a shoestring budget. But that's not me saying I definitely want him over everybody.
Fair enough. Talking about Norwich, they spent a lot of money, didn't they, in the summer? A lot of people had them up in the top 10, Norwich, this season. Yep. I don't think they're a side who will get relegated. I physically don't. I think they will be... They'll be there. No, we're not in the top 10, but I think they'll be there mid-table this season, bottom half. That's where I think they'll be. Josh Sargent has scored 5 goals this season, hasn't scored a goal since August. He come out, I think it was the other week, and said, well, I can't do anything on my own. I can't run the 18-yard box from the 18-yard box on my own.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't do things on my own. So he's been frustrated. There's been a lot of falling outs on and off the pitch, players, in the director of football and whatever. They played Sheffield Wednesday last night. Barry Bannon scored the absolute cracker, by the way. So if you've missed it, going back and watch it, I think it was an outstanding goal. But then Norwich scored on the balance of play. But then you see the players bickering again. Yeah. As they've come on for the second half, they come arguing. I think it was Duffy, for that with McLean. So that club seems to be in tatters. The squad just isn't together. I'd say it's very fractured, Steve.
Well, yeah, you would. I'd agree with you. If they've got players fighting the manager or shouting at each other, it's not a good look, is it? Let's be honest. I'll be honest, I would quite like some of our players to start fighting on the pitch, because it shows that they actually give a shit. So, at least they care down there. But yeah, it's not a good look when your players are arguing with the manager. It's clear that Manning is out of his depth there, and he'll probably get sacked even if they win at the weekend, because the players just aren't having him. And yeah, it's just I don't know. It's one of those ones where we're both so shit. It could be an amazing game, or it could be the worst game of football I've ever seen in my life. And we had enough of that last season when we played like Ipswich and Southampton. So, I think they clearly need to pick up a win. We clearly need to pick up a win. It's going to be a dog shit game. It is. So,
well, this is it. It's two sides that physically can't score, and both defenses are leaking goals.
I'd like to think that Vestergaard and Nelson will start. So I have a feeling that Pereira will come in over Macaulay, and we'll have Nelson and Vestergaard and Thomas on the left. In honesty, that's probably our best defense at this point. But we are protecting a 38-year-old goalkeeper, so that's interesting. But yeah, I think everyone's leaking goals, but I think that's a decent back four at this level.
Yeah, Norwich have kept one clean sheet. They sit 23rd in the form table with this one. Leicester sit 14th, 3 clean sheets. So I physically think it's going to be a game where both teams will score. These are the types of games where Leicester, we know what we're like when we play teams like this. We seem to put ourselves in trouble where we don't need to, but we do, because we go down to their level, Steve, and we don't think about what we need to be doing. We're too busy feeling sorry for everybody else. And I think, if they go a goal up, they'll feel great. They'll feel confident. The fans will be bouncing, and we'll be on the team's back again, because that's just how it's going at the moment. So, I think the first goal is really important. It's crucial. If they get the first goal, our heads drop again.
Exactly. Yeah. And if we score, then they'll always get back into the game anyway in the 94th minute. It's fine. That's it's the Leicester way. But the first goal is really important, and I just hope we get it because it would just be nice to celebrate an actual goal from open play.
Yeah, we give up after half time. That's what Steve's saying at Norwich. We give up. It's the resistible force, the removable object.
Yeah, yep. I say El Shitico. That's what it is.
That's what it is. You talk about players that will stand out in the game. You look at Jordan James, Norwich at the minute. Everyone will go with Josh Sargent, but the best player for Norwich at the minute has been Pele Matson.
I'll be honest with you, I know nothing about him. Let me look at some stats.
Well, he is a what is he? What position does Matson play? Let me have a look. Oh, he's a midfielder. He's a defensive midfielder. He's a DM. He's won aerial duels, won 85% of them. His touches are 100%. Chances created 69%. He seems like a good player for them in that midfield. But again, I don't physically think you can rely on one player.
No, exactly. If as I mentioned a few weeks ago, that if 4 or 5 players are giving you 5% less in a game, you'll likely lose the game because that everyone needs to put in 100% at this point. At least there's one positive, Jack. We don't have Jeffrey Schlupp scoring a goal against us this weekend because he's injured.
Is he injured?
It looks like he's done his groin apparently. So that's a nice let off at least because that was a guaranteed goal for them.
Well, he had scored at Carrow Road for Leicester, 2015. Scored. What was it? 2-0 win, 2-1. I think it was back then. I think it was. Let me have a look. 2015. Yeah, 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, and they've got Jovan Makama, who's scored 3 goals this season as well. So. He's a striker that can play on either wings. He looks like a decent player, quite young, 21. Then they've got the Matthias Kvitsgarden.
Is he a striker? Kvitsgarden?
Yeah, he's the one they spent big money on. He scored against Sheffield Wednesday last night. He scored a couple of goals this year so far. He's only started 2 games though, so I think he's been off the bench for most of them. And then assist wise. It's a bit like Leicester. It's just, not great. Josh Sargent's got 2 assists. The fact that he's their top goal scorer and he hasn't scored since August and he's got the most assists as well.
It says a lot about that team.
It says a lot about the team, yeah. So
yeah,
it's not ideal. It's the perfect time for each to play each other, really, isn't it?
It is.
Somebody's season will get kick-started from this, but funnily enough, so Norwich they average 0.9 goals a game, but they're conceding 1.5 goals a game. So that would suggest that we will score a goal at least, and they might not score. So that would be nice. They've only got 1 clean sheet, as you said earlier, and they average about 54% possession. So I wonder if it's a case of we'll just give them the ball on Saturday and just be like, you play with it. We don't want it, like we did against Middlesbrough.
Well, this is it. Norwich is the best time to play Leicester. Every team is the best time to play Leicester when they're off form. You look at Blackburn. I think it were Portsmouth. Haven't really picked up much away from home. They picked up a point. Wrexham got something out of Leicester. Then you look at Norwich. It's the best time for Leicester to get back on form against a side who can't hit a barn door, who can't physically do anything because of how dampening the atmosphere is on the things happening at the club at the minute. It's 2 clubs who are very much in the same situation of director of football, getting on the players' backs, managers who are under pressure for what they're doing. So both clubs they've got some sort of connections in them sort of different things, but it's a game that is a must-win. And to say it early on in the season, I think it just shows how bad things have got. So this is a game that we can't afford to drop points against, Steve. And last time we're going into the international break, We beat Swansea 3-1. We would expect that type of performance from Leicester. A side that can fight, take chances, take risks, create a lot more. Because I think the Swansea game was the only real game that we created a lot more on target as well.
Well, yeah, and then, we came back after international break. We drew with Portsmouth. We had the best first half of football I've seen for a very long time against Portsmouth, but it was terrible second half. The awful first half against Hull.
Oh, that goal scoring music is something else.
Yeah. And then like the fact that since the international break, since beating Swansea, we've picked up 2 points. Out of those games where you expected to kick on at that point. You go out the international break after having a win. You come back, you think, okay, perfect, here we go.
Yeah.
You play really well against Portsmouth in the first half, and we're all thinking, okay, we're back on track. We know what's coming now. And then we sat back. And then it's definitely it's not a step forward, is it? It feels like 4 steps back at this point. So
yeah, it is.
It's not great. It's not great. And as match going fans as we are, traveling all those miles every week to watch a bunch of players that don't give a shit, it makes you make you question going yourself, because it's made me question going.
Yeah. I said this to my mate Lee, who I speak to regularly, and he's not going at the weekend. He's not going. He's had enough. He said, I can't physically take it, Jack. He said, this is what it's done to me. He said, the club's in a mess. And he said, why should the fans bother? Because they don't care about us. So why should we care? Why should we keep doing what we're doing, traveling all these miles and that, if we're not getting nothing in return?
Yeah.
I get Jenny's point to an extent here. Marty will be out if we lose. I get that, because I physically think if we do lose, then I don't think we have, because with football these days, Jen, it's the case of it's a points basis game, and if you're not doing it and you go 1 win in 11, it just goes beyond the point. But then you'll get another manager to hound out good times. The fans are not hounding out managers.
Yeah,
it's the point the manager's been. It's the position the manager's been put in by the club. It's not
and also him coming out and saying he's going to play the younger lads, and he's not really giving any of them a chance. Like, for me, Jenny, Marty's digging his own grave. Like, I made this analogy the other day. Marty feels like he's pushing a boulder up a hill, right?
Yeah.
And we're all around him screaming at him, saying, push faster, push faster. But Marty's also stabbing himself in the leg at the same time to handicap himself. So he's not helping himself in any of these situations. He comes in and says one thing, and then actually he's done completely the opposite of what we expected. He's reverted back to type to the players that have failed year in, year out for the last 3 or 4 years. And I get what you're saying in regards to hounding the manager out, because we sacked Steve Cooper, but we weren't great under Steve Cooper. We kept Ruud van Nistelrooy when we were shit under Ruud van Nistelrooy. You give Marty the tools, but whilst I have sympathy for him and the fact that we've not brought in any players really, other than that one day in the transfer window where he could sign 3 players, there's nothing that we've seen in the last few games that would suggest that he, A, knows what he's doing, and B, is willing to change it around, because he's just not. He's just really not. Sorry, Jack, I interrupted you there.
That's all right. Martin O'Neill won 1 in 10 first year at Leicester. Marty will not turn it around. Yeah, but you look at the squad Martin O'Neill had. Good players. He obviously took him time. Martin O'Neill actually talks about that, didn't he? About his time that when he did go through that period, and he had to sort of work in the end towards it, didn't he, Steve? And look what that succeeded. But our club back then is different to what we are now.
Yeah,
it is. We weren't really, I wouldn't say we were in a crisis back then.
No, well, back when O'Neill was in charge, the first time in the second division as it was back then, we weren't a big fish in a small pond. At this point, we are one of the biggest clubs in the Championship. We have one of the highest wage bills in the Championship.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm saying that he's not helping himself is because he's reverting back to playing the players that we all know don't want to be here. And so my point was that the fucking mercenaries are doing this to you until the Rodgers clique are out. No manager will manage proper because they poison the dressing room. And I agree, Jenny. I completely agree. And that's why I said at the very beginning of the show that Marty, for me, is the perfect manager for next summer. He comes in, he's got a clean squad. He gets rid of the Winks and the bad eggs effectively. Wildfast will leave as well. But right now, and as a match-going fan that goes home and away, there is nothing that suggests to me that he knows exactly what he's doing with any of these players in the squad. And he was stifling development of Ben Nelson by not picking him, and he picked Wildfast. He doesn't want to be here. You stifle the development of other young players that realistically might not be good enough to make the step up just yet, but should be in the matchday squad, should be on the bench.
Olibardi, Aluko should be in there.
Aluko, Louis Page, Jake Evans. I know that these are very young players and they're 16 and 17, they're still learning the game. But for me, you will lose less of the fan base if you're picking players that want to be at the club, that will give everything on that pitch. And right now, there are players in that starting 11 every week that don't want to be here. Harry Winks is one of them. Whilst he's been okay this season and he's come back in and played okay, he doesn't want to be here. Okoli wanted to leave in the summer. Wildfast wants to go, as I said before. Oliver Skip probably doesn't want to be here. Samare doesn't want to be here. There are players in this squad that clearly are unhappy and yet are still being picked. So the reason I look, again, I don't have any issues with Marty. I think that he's a decent guy, and I think actually he'd make a decent manager for Leicester. But at this point,
it's the position we're in.
And it's the definition of insanity, where if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, it never happens.
I will say though, Steve, I don't even think Pep Guardiola would change this.
No, exactly. There aren't many managers that would come out and change this scenario. That's why I mentioned earlier, we need a manager that has a strong backbone, that is willing to drop these players that don't want to be like. If somebody came in tomorrow, right, and said, right, wow, you're not playing again. You don't want to be here. We don't know you're getting a wage, but you're not playing in the matchday squad. We're banishing you. The fans will go, fair fucking play. It's about time somebody did it. Samara, you're the same, mate. Off you go. You're not good enough. Off you go. But I think there's pressure from the club. There's definitely pressure on the club to get promoted this season because of the financial situation that we're in.
Of course.
I wonder if he's started out thinking, I will play the younger lads, but he's had a bit of pressure from the top to play the players that didn't get sold in the summer. So in January, they're in the shop window. And look, they're on big wages, so you have to play them. I wouldn't be surprised, but nobody knows. We don't know this sort of stuff. But I'm just, for me, there's so many issues at the club, and the manager isn't the main issue. We all know the manager's not the main issue. But if we're not picking up results, he's the only thing that we can change in the short term to potentially help us out long term. But yeah, it's just a shit situation for everybody. I don't like anybody seeing their losing their job, and especially such a nice guy like Marty is. But that's football. That's football, and we don't make these choices. We don't own the club, do we?
No, we just pay our money and go and expect to be entertained. But no, we're on that roller coaster every week, and we'll expect things to improve, and they haven't. That's why we've lost. That's why we've only won one in the last 10. So. Martin,
it's not through lack of trying from the fans, because having been to every game apart from the Charlton game this season, the fans do get behind the players, especially away from home.
Of course.
It's when that we see players that just aren't putting the effort in, that's when it changes. And I know that the fan base is quite toxic. It's quite polarizing. There are fans that think the club's doing well still, and the fans that think we're in the we're going to get relegated to League One. There is a massive divide, and until we win games that makes people happy, there will never be that separation. Everyone will still be there'll never be that sort of joining. We'll always be separated still, because we all want different things. But realistically, we all love the club. We all want to be successful. We all want to go to a game and celebrate a goal and be happy. We just haven't had that for 18 months. So I think this is a continuation of last season, rather than it being a new season. And Marty's, unfortunately, is falling foul of that. Sorry, I went on a big rant there, Jack.
It's just a continuous of mismanagement.
Yeah.
From the top. It is. You know, we can't beat around the bush and say they've made the perfect decisions. Have they learnt from them? No. Have they still got big wages on the books? Yes. Do they need to sell a lot of them in January? Of course they do.
Yep.
We only play these players because they need to get moves in January. And if we don't play them, no one's going to buy them. So we put ourselves in a tricky position as a club, which we've got ourselves in. And, you know, we've dug our hole further than we needed to be fair, to the point of it's insanity that you know you've got your Samares on the eye earners, you've got Harry Winks on there, you've got Daka on there, you've got Vestergaard on there. The list goes on to probably the least wages on the list, which is probably Abdul or something like that. I don't know, but let's have a look at key battles and players to watch before we actually get on to footing both camps and that, and last time round and get into the team. So Josh Sargent versus Yannick Vestergaard is what they've actually got on here. I mean, one's got pace and one hasn't, so that's going to be an interesting theory of how we deal with this. This will be a key battle between Norwich's forward and Leicester's defender, with Sargent looking to exploit any gaps in the defence. Kenny McLean versus Harry Winks. This duel could be crucial, with McLean aiming to control the game in the midfield and Winks looking to break up Norwich's play. Oscar Schwatawa, I don't know how you pronounce that. Role as an attacker with vital for Norwich as they look for him to provide the goals they desperately need. Oliver Skipp, they've put on here as well for Leicester. Skipp's midfield presence will be key for Leicester as he looks to dictate the tempo and support the attack. Who's been writing this?
Oh yeah, it's definitely not a fan that's watched Leicester play this season, is it? Let's be honest.
Well, this is on one of the stat pages, and I'm like, I don't get it. They also put Leicester's predicted lineup indicates a focus on maintaining a solid back line with Nelson, Okoli, Vestergaard and Thomas. Their midfield featuring James and Skipp will be crucial in controlling the game and supporting Carranza up front.
Well, first of all, Nelson only played his first game of the season on Tuesday, so I don't know how they've got that.
They're basically going off the middles, but they think it'll be the same team.
Yeah, but Harry Winks is the guy in the middle with Oliver Skipp, not JJ.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
God, this is what they've put into Chat GPT, isn't it? That's what it is.
It's something. It's probably an AI who's wrote this. Right, let's have a look at the last 5 results between the two sides recently in the Championship. So Leicester won 3-1 at the King Power, April 2024. Norwich 0, Leicester 2 was the last time we visited Carrow Road, September 2023. Goal scorers?
2023. Dewsbury Hall?
No.
Jamie Vardy?
No.
Oh. I've no idea.
Kelechi Iheanacho from the spot and Casey McAteer.
Okay. See, you and Ross are very knowledgeable about previous goal scorers. I have no idea. I just go, we won. That's it. That's all you get from me.
Well, we did win, yeah. It was a second half. I remember that they kept bombarding our goal, and Hermanson made some great saves in that second half. They absolutely threw the kitchen sink at us, and we defended everything and ran up the other end and scored. I remember the game well. It did rain that day.
I was on holiday for that game because I think I remember watching it in the airport on the way back.
Yeah. Let's get into Leicester 2, Norwich 3, 2011. I think that was when bloody Grant Holt played for them. Norwich 4, Leicester 3. Jesus. And then Leicester 4, Norwich 0, February 2008 is the last 5 fixtures in the Championship. So they've got 2 wins and we've got 3.
Yeah.
So there we go. Right, let's. Where do we want to go? Should we have a look at footing both camps and discuss some of the players who have played for both sides, Steve?
Sure.
Adi Akinbaye, one of the worst ever players to have played for Leicester City Football Club, cost £5 million. Some say Patson Daka's the modern day Adi Akinbaye, by the way. But I believe you put a stat out about that a few weeks ago about Akinbaye and Daka in goals and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, didn't really. He played 60 games for Leicester, Akinbaye, played 50 for Norwich, scored 3 for Norwich, by the way. So he did find the goal. Ben Amwick played for both sides. David Bell, Ryan Bennett. That was a tragic one, by the way, that one. Ryan Bertrand. Jesus Christ, this list gets worse before it gets better. Mark Bunn, Cole Court, Tony Cottee, good player for Leicester. Won the League Cup with Leicester as well. Richie Delat did well for Leicester in the Championship days of 2013-14 season when we did win the league that year. Callum Doyle played for both clubs, had a successful loan at Norwich last season. They love him. Leicester, we didn't really see much of him, did we, Steve? Callum Doyle?
No, he got injured, didn't he? So unfortunately, he got injured and Justin played really well. So he was never going to get back into it, really, was he?
No, we signed Darren Eady from Norwich, legend but injury prone. Yeah. Dion Dublin, Darren Eady, Mark Edworthy, Elvis Hammond.
Yep.
Stephen Hughes, Andy Johnson, Harry Kane.
Yep.
People wouldn't actually know this. We actually had Harry Kane on loan at Leicester City. People who were born in way after the Harry Kane era wouldn't have actually believed that we actually had Harry Kane at Leicester. It weren't a successful spell either.
No, it was terrible.
Darren
Kenton, James Maddison was there as well. Ignacy Miguel, Kyle Norton,
Ben Marshall.
Yep. Jeffrey Schlupp and Oliver Skip played for Norwich.
Spencer
Jack's
Pryor.
favourite player.
Spencer Pryor.
Yep.
Aaron Ramsey played for Norwich. There's one who plays for Leicester at the minute, who is currently injured. Ewan Roberts. Where's a Welshman's at? Always scored against Derby. Mark Robbins. Another good Leicester City player. Jeffrey Schlupp, who currently plays for Norwich, who's obviously injured Leicester fans, so you haven't really got to worry about him scoring at the weekend. Oliver Skip, £25 million, and less said about that, the better. But he was good at Norwich, by the way. Norwich fans would have probably took him back, to be fair. Robert Ullathorne, 1993 to 1995, played for Norwich. 97 to 98, Leicester, spent a year. James Vaughan. Steve Walsh. Yep. Captain,
only 4 games though. He was only there for 4 games, so not a big spell.
I believed. Is it right? Did we sign Walshy from Norwich?
No, he went to them on loan after leaving. Well, no, he went on. Yeah, he went. Did he go there on loan?
He did.
Because he was getting some fitness back, wasn't he? And then he ended up going there.
Yeah. Steve Walsh. No, yeah, Steve Walsh did go on loan to Norwich. He did in 2000. Ashley Ward, Tony Warner, Zach Whitbread. He was always a merchant, wasn't he? To be fair, of own goals. A bit like bloody Frank Sinclair when it comes to own goals, Zach Whitbread. James Maddison. Which players would you pick out of there if you had to pick 5 players who you thought did well for the club?
Well, there's the obvious ones in Richie Delat, who did well for us in the Championship and the Premier League as well before going out on loan. Dion Dublin, former Leicester Academy graduate, before moving on and then coming back to the club. The only person I've seen on his debut to score a goal and get sent off on his debut. So that was nice to see. James Maddison. Look, I have some issues with Maddison as a footballer towards the end of time. We got relegated because he missed that penalty. I don't care what anyone says.
Evening, guys.
But overall, and there's obviously Jeffrey Schlupp who came through the academy at Leicester as well, and then Steve Walsh. So, but if I was to pick 5 players that would improve our team right now,
come and have a quick chat with us. Feel free.
Yeah, I would say Steve Walsh. If I had to pick any 5 that are in that list that I would pick to go in now, Steve Walsh would be one because we need a leader at the back. I would pick James Maddison to go in the cam position that we've got right now.
So if you had to pick like a little five-a-side out of that, then
I would say it would be Harry Kane, James Maddison, Steve Walsh, Callum Doyle, and Mark Bunn.
Fair enough. I don't really see. I didn't really. I think Tony Warner made his debut against Millwall in 2009, I believe. Hello, Mike. How are we? Roberts, we need bloody goals. You and Roberts, I'd probably put in there, to be fair, in that midfield. I'd physically put him in there with James Maddison. Steve Walsh can go into defence, and then I'd probably go with Mark Bunn. And then striker, well, there's not much to bloody choose from. I'd say Tony Cottee.
Really, over Harry Kane?
Yeah, but I'm judging Harry Kane off Leicester
fair.
I'm judging him off his Leicester spell. I'm not judging him what he is now. He didn't do it for us, so we can't really comment on it.
True,
I'm judging it off Tony Cottee because I've watched Tony Cottee play. So,
give me I can buy you. There you go.
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. We definitely won't score. It'd be non-existent.
How did you watch Tony Cottee play when you were born in '98? He left in 2000.
West Ham.
When did he join West Ham? Oh, that's
after.
No, it was before.
You sure?
He retired after leaving us. Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say, you were a little whippersnapper. You were. There's no chance. He went to Norwich. He left Leicester, went to Birmingham on loan, then went to Norwich for 7 games, then Barnet and Millwall. He retired in 2001. So you'd been 3 years old, Jack, watching him play. Yeah,
I've watched him play on videos. All right for Leicester. That's why I'm judging him off Leicester. I'm not physically like I've actually watched him physically in real person. You know, so I have met the bloke actually though. Nice bloke, TC. We should probably get him on the channel, to be fair, Steve. It'd be a great bloody chat with him, I'm sure. Big Dion Dublin. Yeah, I tell you what, he was good for that. Dion Dublin, I think, came at the back end of his career to Leicester.
Yeah, he was a Leicester lad, wasn't he? He's born and bred Leicester, but we didn't take him. I think he was in our academy potentially, and then we said he was too small or something.
He played for bloody Coventry, Villa, Norwich.
Yeah.
Played for a few good clubs.
He went to Cambridge, didn't he? He started off at Cambridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then went
Carl
to...
Carl Norton were good, though, for Leicester. Spencer Pryor.
Yeah, he was all right.
Spencer Pryor would actually go through a bloody brick wall for us. Ben Marshall could score long-range goals. Just his attitude stunk. As a Hull fan, can't believe the relegation sides are struggling this season.
I can.
I can. Mark Robbins, he's done well. There's obviously talk about would Mark Robbins come and manage Leicester City. We like players when they do well for clubs. I don't know if you want to keep bringing them back as a manager, though. I don't think they need to ruin the reputation. Because Mark Robbins, if he come Leicester's manager, it just wouldn't work for him because of the situation we're in. If we're in a fantastic situation, far more better than this, I'd probably say Mark Robbins, but yeah, not right now. Right, let me share my screen. We're gonna put a team together. Actually, I don't know if it'll be what we think it will be at the weekend, Steve. But right, what formation we going?
Well, it'll be the 4-3-2-1, won't it? What we play at the weekend, 40, whatever it is.
Should we play 3-5-2?
It won't be 3-5-2, will it? It's not going to be 3-5-2.
No. All right, then we'll go for a 4-2-3-1 again, like we always do. All right.
Yep.
Right. Yep. Goalkeeper.
It'll be Begovic.
Asmir Begovic. Yeah. Right. Defenders. This is an interesting one. Who do we put in?
Well, I personally believe it'll be Ricardo, Nelson, Vestergaard, and Thomas.
Well, Luke Thomas is bound to go in there, isn't he? Because Christensen's injured again.
Yep.
See, I want to see Nelson and Nicole. So I
think Vestergaard has been one of our better players this year. So I don't know, why he wouldn't pick him still.
I don't know, but I'd like to see Nelson and Nicole, to be fair. Midfield, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go Winks there.
Yeah.
Jordan James. And then, I'll tell you what, instead of Oliver Skipman, he ain't getting a sniff in this team. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go. Where is he? Where's D Cordova-Reid? There he is. Put him there. Right. Abdul Fatawu. Right. The two places which are left.
I personally think it's probably going to be Ayew and Carranza again, to be honest. I don't want it to be, but...
So if we go what we think, rather than what you think he'll pick, if we have to put a team together, who are we putting in left and striker?
I would put, in all honesty, I would drop out Bobby Reid. I'd put Mavididi there.
Right. Hold on.
I would put Monga on the wing. And then I would play, because of it would be Daka because of the pace. There's pace all over that, you know.
Yeah, you need goals though, don't you?
You do. But like for me, transition-wise, that works as a counter-attacking side. Not that we ever play counter-attacking.
Coley can't pass like Vestergaard. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, whereas Vestergaard can do the long diagonals, which is good for Monga and Abdul to break the lines. So yeah, I think that's what I would pick personally. But we just know that it will be Ayew on the left wing and it'll be Carranza up top again. Yeah,
I think it would be an interesting team. That, to be fair, it's not something I'd probably pick, to be fair, but it would. I think they're on about Mavididi as number 10. Mavi's one of them this season. He's just not good enough. It just doesn't work.
But he came on he did come on Tuesday and looked like he was lively and up for it. So
yeah,
you know, it's the little things, isn't it? That's the problem. It's the little things where you think, okay, this is good, but
let's I'll tell you what. Let's have a look what Marty's had to say in his press conference today about the game itself. Where is it? So Marty said about Norwich, he put, it's a good team with quality players. They can change systems. They play a back four, a back three. So it's going to be a game where we need to be on top of our game. That's what he said. But then he did say to BBC Sport Leicester today that Cifuentes has said Jacob will miss the game with a groin injury. So he's obviously going to come in. Begovic. Christensen struggling with a swollen knee. I wonder who's kicked him this time or hit him. Steve Balzer is still waiting on a leg scan. After the run with 10 games, less than a month ago, we were in the playoff places, and now we have gone on a bad run. We have to see what we can improve and benchmark, and attitude and character is what we saw in the last game. I don't really know what you've been watching, Marty, but we go on. They have set the bar in terms of what we expect. The feel-good factor has not been here for a while. We want to give fans something back. You said that at Millwall, mate. And Hull. We want to start with Saturday. The division doesn't give you a break. We need to be on top of our fundamentals. With an attitude and character the team showed in their draw against Middlesbrough, but wants to see more on the pitch from his side. That's what he said. What's your thoughts on what he said?
It's the same old, isn't it? You know, I didn't see anything in that game on Tuesday that made
he's not thrown under the bus, has he?
No, he's not, and I don't think he will because, you know, he's already. I would say he's almost lost all the fan base anyway. Is he going to lose to the players? I wouldn't have thought so. But look, he needs to come out there and actually make some changes on Saturday. But my main concern is that he's not actually played. He's had one unchanged lineup so far this season. And we're 14 games in. That doesn't sound like he knows what his best team is already.
No.
So, yeah, I'm just not confident. I'm listening to him talk, and I'm just like, it's all waffle, mate.
He's not going to slag him off.
No, he's not. No, because, you know, realistically, he wants a payout, doesn't he, if he gets sacked? He's not going to walk away.
No.
It's all waffle, Jack. It's all fucking waffle.
There's certain managers who would slag him off.
But more importantly,
Brendan Rodgers did it in the end.
Yeah, breaking news, in case you haven't seen, but GTA 6 has been delayed till November 19th now.
Oh, that's not good,
Outrageous.
is it?
It's outrageous.
So I've got to wait a year now, yeah?
Yeah, bullshit, Jack. That's worse than Leicester City losing every week.
Bang out of order. Sorted out, Rockstar, mate. Sorted out, mate. Honestly. Right, score predictions, everyone, then. Get them in the comments. Steve, what did you go for again?
I went for a... Oh, hang on. Let me open up the spreadsheet.
I think I went 1-1.
Yeah, you went 1-1. I went 1-0 Norwich. I
sort of changed one at the last second when I was sort of listening to what... was it Colin who was a Norwich fan? Or one of them who were a Norwich fan anyway. 0-0, 1-1 or a 2-1 loss. Draw it 0-0, 1-0 Leicester. Yeah, it's a game that we really need to win, to be fair. If we don't, we're going to probably be looking at our shoulder because there's teams who are not many points behind us. Hart says 2-1 us. Factual 2-1, which I hate to say. Is he on about 2-1 Norwich?
No, Hart says 2-1 to Leicester, but factually, I said 2-1 to Norwich, yeah.
Bloody hell, Daz, mate. What you been drinking tonight, mate? Daz talks sense when he's sober. Telling you, when I see him at the football, when we talk about the championship and that, he basically said the quality is absolutely crap. That's what he says.
Yeah.
But I said this to some bloke in the week. I said the championship's crap. He said, yeah, but you still got to win your games, whether what it is or it isn't. 3-1 Norwich. See how mate, do it. Unbelievable. Right, Steve, promote the championship predictions for us.
So if you want to go listen to 38 minutes of waffle before we get into the predictions, by all means. We always like having a good chat before the actual predictions come out. We all did pretty well this week, Jack, considering the week before we didn't get any. So That's a positive. And look, go over there, put your predictions in the comments, and then laugh at us when we get them wrong.
Seems a fair crack, to be fair. Not much copying this week, as them two like to accuse me of, but there it is. I've gone 1-1. Steve's gone 1-0 Norwich.
Yep.
Let's see how Leicester turn up at Carrow Road in a must-win game at the weekend. But no, thanks everyone. Hit a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, get involved. If you watch this on playback, then get your score predictions in and let me know your thoughts ahead of the game. Also go and check out Championship predictions, week 14, as we're week 15, as we chatted about the games, and also 38 minutes of waffle before. So if you're not interested in what we've got to say about week 14, I suggest you skip it 38 minutes and you'll be in line with what we said about week 15. So thanks for watching, everyone. Mick, it can't go on like this, can it, at the weekend for Norwich or Leicester?
It can't go on like this, can it?
It can.